All right, hello everyone. We are back here. Hole number 5 that I'm setting up for. Not sure what wind they're going to give us. I'd imagine they probably give us a tailwind, but I don't know for sure. The biggest reason for them to do that is to make sure that guys with like Epoch 7s and Royal, what are they called? Jewel balls. They can't, sneak one to the green and then other guys can't. So I would imagine they would set up some version of a tailwind here. And sure enough, here it is. It'll be ideal. So what's going to end up happening is you're going to have to aim off this cliff. Anytime you do that, the ball lands on a lower trajectory. You always, when you push off this cliff, you end up putting the target on lower trajectory and the ball doesn't carry as far. So if it's showing the bullseye up here, you may land a little bit shorter back towards the beginning of the island because you're pointing down to that lower ground. So you can see that's exactly what my opponent's doing. Moving down to that lower ground. Oh, the great ball actually pulls it back up on the cliff when you do that. So he might land, but there you can see that it's just barely landing on the island. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So you can see that his ball barely got to the island. He's actually not going to be able to reach the green with that putt. But, that's something that you'll need to consider for this shot is you really got to kind of keep this on the island. And it's going to be easier with, higher wind resistant balls. So if you could, for example, get something with a 4 wind reduction and just try to sneak this on the edge of the fairway here, that's going to be what you ideally want to do. Otherwise, if you point down here, the ball's going to land short every time. Every time it's going to kind of land way back here on the island. So, that's kind of how I'm going to have to play it. So you can see with what I'm doing, how I'm just kind of maxing this out. And it looks like I did get my perfect ball, but keep in mind, since I pointed down to lower ground, it's going to barely trickle onto the island there, which means that I'm going to put that top spin on and just try to get it up there for a pitch. So if you're wondering why you're getting glitchy results, that's the reason. Another thing that you can do is you can aim even farther. I could pull out a berserker ball, for example, and do the same thing. I could aim more off the cliff. Same thing's going to happen though. It's going to land way short again towards the front of the island. However, it might give you enough to actually get to this hole. As I mentioned, my opponent here, he's not going to be able to reach the green, not be able to reach the hole. So it really doesn't matter what he does. Even though he hit perfect ball, it's going to come up short. So you do want to avoid the front of that green. Ideally, you kind of put it in position here. And again, there's 2 different ways I can play this. I can either go for the dunk. You can see I'm maybe at about, 70% club, for example. So somewhere around 5 rings. Of course, I could put backspin on this. I'm really not that worried about it. I'm just going to forfeit out anyway. But you'd want to make sure that you kind of do that. So again, the reason I'm doing this is just because it's a nasty side wind. And you can see that, with the great ball, it's going to land just a fraction shorter than a perfect ball would have. Another thing you can do is you could maybe, if you had a Rapier 8, try to play the green. It's very, very tough to do on this hole. So nothing that I technically recommend. The reason that I go for the dunk is because the wind effect. Above 50% club, it becomes tough to play. I'm probably going to play one of each. So, my next playthrough, if I get to the pitch there, again, I'm just going to, I'll play the green the second time. So, if you are looking for, playing it that way, it's going to be, a little bit more challenging. Most guys are going to have a lot of trouble with side wind effect. And that's the reason that you see me going for the dunk on 3 and 5. If I can start to get kind of the general idea of how many rings I need to play and get it exactly where I want, I can just make minor tweaks. Again, it looked like my wind play there was perfect. So 5 rings was about perfect for that wind. The biggest thing was the great ball that I got. and it looks like it maybe just the slightest of slight underhits. I might have hit right on the very front edge of the hole, something that can easily be tweaked, especially heading into the weekend round. So good luck with that hole, and I'll catch you guys on 4 coming up.